dishing out what they call banter and repartee,
TC and Jake
have become, in 2 short years, the most listened to rock and roll morning show in the entire Southwest.
Hey folks, that's us. Wouldn't it be nice to have come up in a time when you could have done a rock and roll morning show?
There's no snare in my headphones. I can hear me, but not you.
I don't want to change it. How about that?
Huh?
Is that a joke?
I can't hear you.
Just leave the one out.
Leave the one out? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I guess you wouldn't be qualified to do a rock and roll morning show.
Well, I can dish out the banter and repartee.
Would it actually be better? I mean, like, I love rock and roll, so that's cool. In for that. But the idea of, like, the ticket, but you have to give up, like, 20 minutes of the hour to play in fucking Fog Hat?
Absolutely not.
Is that better?
Absolutely
not. Or would
not.
you rather have that time to talk with your friends?
And I personally don't think that's going to last all that much longer.
The rock and roll morning shows, are they on at all? I mean, I guess Hawkeye exists.
They are, but I mean,
Big
even like Ben and Skin are on at the Eagle, and they don't play records at all.
Yeah, that
it's
makes
2 to
sense.
5, but
yeah,
it's not a morning show. But I would bet in time that, you know,
the playing of records.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have thought, I guess surely that has to be the case. But if it were going to be the case, I feel like a while ago would have been the time.
Well, yeah, but you still have a substantial portion of the audience which is aging out of the coveted demographic, but a good enough portion is still in it that are not adoptive enough of Spotify or Apple Music or even
it has
Pandora.
To be all old people ads, right? Like there's no way that rock stations across the country are targeting under 54. 0% chance.
I would say definitely not under 45. You know, I don't know though. So yeah, it probably plays a little bit like a Fox News stop set with gold.
Just telling you about the robot insurance.
Right. And you know what robots love. Old people's medicine.
They do.
I believe that company was called Old Faithful.
That sounds right. Yeah, which you can tell us about now.
Dude, that's top 5 for me. I've said that before.
Not Old Faithful, but the commercial.
The extremely crude robots really send it over the top for me.
Yeah.
So I know you're a big Fortnite guy.
That's kind of right sometimes.
I just could not get enough of reading tweets about MLK Fortnite.
Yeah, I haven't read any besides the one announcing it. What do we have?
Oh, dude. I mean, have you seen the trailer?
No.
I don't know if you can pull it up if you'll be able to hear it or not.
I've been busy with stuff.
I mean, I feel like an absolute dick because here's how my relationship with text messages works. As we've done expositions on this before, but
yeah, do you know that there's a trip that you've been invited to like 6 times?
Yeah, he talked to me individually first.
That was good. That was smart. Smart of him.
So I guess I'm on like 2 or 3 group chat or group text threads.
Uh-huh.
And I usually catch up on all of the action at the end of the day and sometimes at the end of 2 days. And I get a good laugh out of it. It's like reading a funny stand-up set.
It's not, but it's you can't participate.
I know, but
think about all the good jokes you could have making fun of Josh's disability.
Yeah, I mean, I do that here plenty.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it sounds like you can get enough of making fun of his disability, and that's just not a situation I'm in. So I got to check it pretty regularly.
It's not that I cannot get enough. It's just that I find myself, I'm either one of the few people left alive that doesn't text and drive, or, well, I guess I do, but not a lot. I get a lot of those texts when I'm driving.
Okay.
And because I have my phone like sitting there unlocked, but I'm like, man, I don't know if I can really fire off this fire Al-Qaeda joke. But I had time this morning.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Time for a good one this morning. So yeah, I found out about this from our group text. Kajan sent it to us. It's, I always call these.
Are you able to hear that?
No, I think that's why I'm not able to hear you as well.
No, unrelated. I know why you can't hear me, but if I put me in, then I'm going to be in my own ears, and I don't want to do that.
I always call it the wish I was in the meeting moment, you know?
All right.
Like someone at Sony was like, what can we do to really appear more progressive
This
and
epic.
try to
Thank you.
heal the nation? What?
Sony, they make the console. They don't make all the games.
I thought this was like a Sony studio thing.
I
They're
mean,
like,
it says PlayStation there, but Epic Games is the manufacturer of Fortnite.
but do they handle every single, like, I don't know the term for it, but plug-in or like addition to it, or do they farm out any
I
of
think
that
that
to
Epic
other?
Games is taking care of 100% of things that involve Fortnite. But
Okay. Travis
it's
Scott.
a quickly changing world.
Marshmallow.
That surely could surprise me. So
Well, someone at Epic thought,
It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment.
this rules.
Now
it's a
is the
Fortnite
time
Boy, I
version
love
of...
this.
to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation.
You got
They're intersplicing
Let
scenes of
freedom
the
ring
of
from
DC.
every
the
hill
big march
and
with
molehill of Mississippi.
Fortnite characters
From
marching.
every
yeah,
mountainside.
and watching speeches.
Let freedom ring. I have a dream
Just
today.
incredible, dude.
I can't wait.
Just incredible.
I can't wait. I'm definitely going to kill some teens the way that Martin Luther King would have wanted me to.
Yeah, so in that same setup,
I'm
like
watching the David Guetta thing now, and you can't stop me.
in that same setup, like, by the way, I don't say no. I said, oh man, I just said that because you had an idea. This I
You don't
can't
like
see this
ideas?
enough either. I don't know how this is gonna function. Like, if you wanted to while out at the rally, like if you wanted to be a bad boy,
I'll find out. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't been to these other things. I've heard they were great.
like the Travis Scott thing.
Yeah, no, I haven't. You know, I don't know. I'm not playing all the time, and it seems like a bit of a bridge too far most of the time to like schedule.
Yeah,
Hey, there's some like it's just when I'm free, I will sit down and play video games.
but you schedule going to a concert.
Yeah, but
That's the idea
I-
they're trying to play on.
I bet that the concerts in real life are probably better than ones just through the TV.
Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I like watching music on TV. That's certainly true. Let's do that now. It's famous French DJ David Guetta. I think he's French, right?
I'm not sure. I've always said Guetta.
I think I was corrected about it within the last couple months.
Were you?
And that's how I landed on Guetta.
People are always telling you how to pronounce French DJs. Well,
I'm not positive that he's French.
so he's on top of a skyscraper.
'Cause, yeah, he's just got computer screens in front of him with people dancing to his music in their house. No, we need to back that up because that's the best part.
Hi, people. He does have a little Ollie G to him, which made me think he was a Brit.
United at home. The world is going through difficult times. And America too, actually.
See, no native English speaker says that sentence.
You're
last
right.
night, I knew we were gonna do this.
Good.
And I
Okay.
made a
Yeah,
special
yeah.
record. So this record is in honor of George Floyd. And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace
Me too.
when already things are so difficult.
Yeah.
So, shout out to his family.
Oh, shout out. Yeah, that'll help the healing for sure. Here's a shitty house record.
He just made this one fresh, dude.
Right.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
It was a dream to one day be
I
sampled.
have a dream.
This is the best part, dude.
Just vibe it.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
vibe it. I let the king drop.
I love DJ dance moves. I can watch this for hours. Just all the ways that DJs dance now, like the way they move their shoulders and arms. I love it. I love it. I love it. And to hear it with Martin Luther King in the background. I can't think. I mean, it makes me feel like we're living in the world he wanted.
Well, I saw this morning, it's not necessarily a DJ dance move, but it is along these same lines of just the cavalcade of social media activity about this. This is a real image that Florida State put out.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna fucking pace them.
It's a message.
They're not ready. No program putting out that message is prepared for week 1.
I don't know when this was. I imagine it was right around the same time as David Guetta, but it's a basic social media graphic post that says, "Do something. If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way," by Martin Luther King Jr.
Good so far.
Except jutting through the "do something," they have King with his hand up, but his hand has a Nike Vapor football glove in SFU colors, really shoddily photoshopped onto it.
Yes, that's not in correct proportion of the size
At all.
of his arm.
At all.
And is he is in the original image? He's holding his hand up, or I kind of wonder if they're saying he's doing the chop.
Oh, okay.
MLK is just doing
That's
the
college
chop.
football TC for sure, because that arm doesn't look right either, right? Like that arm is fucking
Yeah, no,
massive.
the arm is terribly. I would have tried again. If that was handed into me, if I was like the head social media guy, I would ask the intern to give it another pass.
But of course, you may know the Florida State University social media program as the proud creators of Ask Jameis.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, although probably no one involved with that is still there, but yes, that's true.
Ask Jameis.
No part of that shows to me a program that's sound enough to be ready for Labor Day.
Oh, is that the opener?
Absolutely, dude. Sunday night. How do you not have that marked off?
Why would you say absolutely?
Well, first of all, if you host the sports talk show and there's the Sunday night game, you ought to know. Like, they do the special thing where, like, you got a whole bunch of games on Saturday. Georgia, Clemson. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then because the NFL's not playing, they put one college football game primetime Sunday night. And even the years that Notre Dame's not playing, I know what that game is.
Is that week 2?
No, it's week 1. Well, I mean,
It's week 2 of the...
They are playing like Illinois and Penn State?
Yes.
Wisconsin? There's a Big Ten game this weekend. But it's newfangled bullshit. I'm not into
I thought it was... Well, you know what?
It's definitely Illinois.
I'll know whenever I have to know. You know who's the head coach at Illinois?
Lovie Smith.
I think it's Brett Bielema.
That's right. Brett Bielema.
Now,
I
who
knew-
hosts the sports show? God damn it.
I knew that Lovie got fired. I didn't know. I couldn't remember what happened. But yeah, you're right. Certainly Bert.
Bert.
Think he's gonna have
Bert,
a run
who
in?
has a sexy wife. Why the fuck would the Irish only be a touchdown and a half favorite here?
Because they want to give you money, dude.
I guess so.
Go big on that one. Make that your lock. Week 1.
I might.
I think you should.
I might.
You want to hear what else? You want some real free money. The win total right now is 8.5.
Oh, come on. Mash it.
I'll bet both of the houses I'm involved in the ownership stake of that
What
they,
a flex.
that they get more than 8.5. No, I'm looking to buy a new house. I probably shouldn't announce that when it's not done.
No, I would have. Yeah, I think that's kind of like announcing that
I didn't mean to. I just got caught up in the moment.
I think
the
that's like-
8.5 was too big for me.
announcing that your wife is having a baby like the day she takes the test.
I saw that happen once. Did you know that?
I did not.
It was Modest Mouse and brand new double bill. It was not at Verizon. It was in a field across from Verizon. I went solo, but you know who I ran into? And it was chief and big joints with all night.
David Guetta.
Spencer, dude.
Who?
Your best friend's brother. Spencer.
Oh.
I'm going to bleep out his name now. You made me say the last name. That's kind of fucked up.
I was like, I don't know. I mean, I haven't
How
seen
many
him.
Spencers you know, dude?
I haven't seen him in a long time.
I probably haven't seen him since that. No, I've
the
seen him
Ballers
since
guy,
then. Yeah.
Oklahoma's quarterback,
Okay. Well, no, it wasn't the Rock's character
the owner
or
of the fish
Oklahoma's
taco
quarterback,
place.
who would have been like 12 at the time.
He
No.
seems advanced.
No, he was not chiefing big joints.
Okay.
Spencer was. But as I was waiting in line to get in there, there was a girl who ran into someone she was not intending to go to the show with, but was just like, holy shit, haven't seen you in forever. This is so cool. And then they're like, what have you been up to? And she's like, took a pregnancy test this morning, positive. I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's within the rules I was told.
Now, let's hold out hope.
It's her choice.
Let's
she can
hold
do
out
that.
hope that somehow that test was taken 4.5 months into the
I don't think so.
gestation period.
She didn't look pregnant to me, if that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it
think I held
doesn't. It
this
doesn't
up.
feel great
I gotta do it now. Sorry, Trey.
because it's kind of like, well, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say that.
Okay. Yeah, good idea. I don't know what it was, but I support you.
I think the people that you immediately hit with premature good news, you should probably have to keep them updated on anything that happens because they're going to be, if you're a close friend of yours, emotionally invested in that.
Yeah, she just wasn't a close friend. That was the thing that was craziest to me. Like, she clearly hadn't seen her in a long time.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, no, we, God willing, are intending to move to East Dallas, and I've been having. It's been weighing on my conscience, Jake, just because just the pros and the cons and everything of like how can I make this decision, and one of the big cons is I'm pretty sure that there just are no people that sell weed in East Dallas. That's what I've heard. That there's just none over there.
Are you soliciting for a dealer on our podcast?
No,
That feels
I would never.
really. I have nothing to do with this. I want to be very
I
clear
didn't
about
have anything
that.
to do with that either. No, don't send those to me, please, guys. That's the last thing anyone would want.
This presupposes that if that was what you were doing, that the 20-minute drive from wherever you were procuring before is just too onerous.
If I were, then yeah, it kind of is.
The kids these days. This is because you got back into the game when the game got a lot easier.
Sure.
you missed-
But it is easy now.
You
so
missed the depression.
I'm not going back.
The depression that was swag.
Like, just because your parents had shitty stuff happen, you didn't, like, go and do it. Like, as much as they did try to say you ought to experience this just because, you didn't.
That's what I call parenting.
That's what I call music. So yeah, you want to talk about Jeopardy? Jeopardy?
for sure.
You guys been talking about this on the show?
We did it today, actually. I think they might have done an initial segment or maybe even like just a note in a segment when it first popped off because the article actually came out the day that I left town.
Okay.
And we kind of had the show already planned. I read it right before the show, so did not feel prepared to dive in. And really, we have done it now that he is fired, not fired. Mm-hmm. So I think that actually worked out better. Let it breathe. Let the cancellation breathe.
So yeah, I think that most of what I have to say here, I will admit to you, the audience, is pretty much cut and paste from the Teen Vogue discussion that we had a couple months back. But yeah, I feel like this is an even stronger case, so I want to do it again. Just because it does, every time I see it, it moves me in my heart. And this one, I'm just much closer than I am to Teen Vogue in that I've ever seen Jeopardy. I do like Jeopardy. Do you watch Jeopardy very often?
I don't, but I enjoy it when I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's probably one of those things that I wonder how many new P1s of Jeopardy there are. It's a very hardcore fan base, and I just wonder, it almost feels like I'm too late.
It
Kinda.
definitely appeals to a certain kind of kid. If you're saying that no one your age is a daily Jeopardy
No.
viewer, then let me introduce you to Justin.
Yeah, no, he sends me a lot of my Jeopardy fails
Yeah.
audio that I then go try to find the source from. No, but I mean, he's probably been into it since he was like in junior high.
I don't know. Yeah, I would guess that's true. But yeah, I like it quite a bit. So, we'll see how it shakes out with the host. But I didn't watch any of the Mike Richards shows, but I asked Justin how they were going, and he seemed to think that they sucked, and I trust him fully with Jeopardy opinions. So I bet that they sucked. And so, on those grounds, like, do I like the outcome? I guess that, like, in pure terms of just the outcome, I do. But what's going on here? Like, I think that him being fired is good. I think the way in which he was fired and, like, the public reasoning behind it is atrocious and a ticking time bomb that we're all going to have to deal with for the rest of our fucking lives. And it's terrible, and there's nothing I can do to change it. But if there was the most I can do to change it is go on my podcast and explain my reasoning and hope to convince some of the good people out there. And then maybe they'll convince two friends.
No, nobody's going to tell a friend about this.
And if those two friends convince two friends, we can change the world.
You just hope it comes out in the wash, because this is the way it's going to work now. And sometimes it's gonna get a shitty, way over the top narcissist who doesn't understand how economic benefits work. And sometimes it's going to get one of our faves, just like in the Epstein thing.
Yeah.
That's really all you can hope for.
But yeah, so Jeopardy goes through this long process where they introduce you to a bunch of people that you already know and get you fired up about the idea that they might host the show. And then, this fucking dipshit you've never heard of gets it, right? He's an executive producer on the show. He seems like someone who's been eager to work in TV for a long time. Started out as an intern for Jay Leno, which, like, I think I'm ready to say that, like, no interns for Jay Leno ought to be involved in the professional world in any capacity.
Yeah, I mean, unless an intern came up with jaywalking, I'd hire that guy.
Yeah.
Sight unseen.
I don't know. If you're like, I just want to work on the big screen with Jay Leno. Or if you're asking me, TC, as a young, hungry college student, would you have turned down an internship to Jay Leno? I don't know, dude. Fuck it. I might. Try me. But so
do I get to meet Kev?
Yeah, if I get to meet Kev, then I will do it. I do like Kev. So he's EP for The Price is Right, where he had a number of lawsuits of women alleging that he did not behave properly in the workplace. Mainly stuff around like firing them for transparently illegal reasons, like because they got pregnant. Right. That kind of stuff. There's not a lot of allegations. It's
not like he was
of, like,
slipping
he
digits.
asked for dates. Yeah.
It wasn't Pants DJ.
Yeah, so this guy gets hired and everyone freaks the fuck out. And as part of that freak out, The Ringer runs an article where they listen to it's just basically like what I would assume that kind of their idea for how are we going to put together this article is everything that he's ever done in public, because it's just not that much, right? So, like, we've never heard of him. What can we learn about him? Oh, look, whenever he was the executive producer, who the fuck knew that the executive producer on The Price is Right had a fucking podcast about it? Like, what's he? I mean, okay, the fucking bad radio intern has a podcast too. I understand what's going on here, but I stand by my opinion. And so they listen to every episode of his podcast, and I'm going to play for you the worst things that they could find.
Well, okay, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Have you ever taken a nude picture?
I'm not answering that question to you, Mike Richards.
Answer it right now to your fans. Have you?
I mean, no, I haven't.
Yes, you
I
have.
have not, like, naked. I've taken, like, cute pictures of myself that I thought
What does
were
that
kinda
mean?
Cute.
What does that mean?
I thought I was, like, so cute.
Like booby pictures? What are we looking at?
Yeah, by the way, he's talking to like one of the women that introduces prizes and stuff on The Price is Right. A couple times he's talking to, like, production assistants.
Yeah,
but there are
I think,
people
like,
that are,
his assistant is
one of them is,
prominently like a host. Here's another one in case you weren't offended yet.
And to the point to where Beth got a job being a booth hoe? Is that right?
Yes.
At CES?
It was a booth babe. I don't think
Yeah.
they used the word hoe for that.
What is a booth babe?
A booth
Whatever.
slut is someone who dresses up in very provocative clothes.
And I was in a t-shirt.
Well, she was
Go on.
in a white t-shirt contest.
So I don't know how many of these you want to play. Is that enough, or do you think there's other relevant ones that ought to more flesh this out?
Well, like I said, he has two in this article where they're just extremely boilerplate conservative economic opinions. Where they're shitty opinions.
Let me play this, because this gets to things where, like, I actually do start to, like, get mildly riled up.
Well, what is $1 to me? I mean, it's a lot, but
I'm guessing if we compared our ratios, it's like $1,000 to me.
But you know what? Whenever I think I want to keep $1, I'm like, no, give the $1. That's my MO.
Was this the government's unemployment money that you're?
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know because I'm
You're
not getting that
perpetuating the
much
circle.
anymore because I'm in the play.
Oh, damn you, Obama.
Don't you start.
No, that's amazing. If you gave away money that was given to you by the government,
Is
that
the best
is
story ever told over? Is it over now?
That's literally
Jen,
the
hit the music.
That's the circle of no life.
No, Mike, it was just
That's
$1.
the sound of America going down the toilet.
I thought that she needed it so she could get like some.
She didn't even
coffee or
ask
some
you for
food.
it, or some crack,
I know,
or
that's
some meth.
But I mean, so that's all shitty stuff. But like, I know a lot of people who think the same thing who are gainfully employed. Now, I don't know how many of them have said it in a public forum within the last 6 to 7 years of being hired by a pretty milquetoast network TV show, but those are not like outside of, that's just Fox News, which is a very popular cable network.
Yeah, and a lot of the conversation I want to have here is just about like trying to draw attention to how random the rules of the public discourse are. And one of the ways I would like to do that is, I mean, I guess Jeopardy wasn't super, it's not like they went line by line and were like, we're firing them because this part offends me, but this part, not so much. But given the way this stuff usually plays out, it is disturbing to me that I think that it is more acceptable publicly to most people to denigrate the poor than it is to denigrate women. Like, I think that the stuff that like really grabs the attention is like, oh, he said comments about women. When like, you know, none of it's like great. Like, if you wanted me to like sit here with a straight face and tell you he's a good person for saying it or something, like, I'm not going to. I understand the ways in which it is offensive and like whatever, but I just like on some level most jokes are offensive and like I don't know.
I don't think
we both worked at a station where stuff like that was said every single fucking day.
Yeah, I think the one where he jokes about hitting a woman is, I thought that one was like way weird because the rest of this is just weird, you know, as Dan put it, mid-market like FM horn dog. But the one that he is talking to a woman about her friends wearing one-piece bathing suits.
Yeah.
And he tags it with a joke about hitting her. I was like, God damn, dude. Like, I don't know that ain't come up. That hasn't come up all that much at the very offensive in its previous run.
I don't interpret it that way. Here, we can listen to it. Is that okay?
Everyone's going to wear one pieces and look really frumpy and overweight. Yeah. Now,
That's so funny because no one's overweight, but
they all
you're
look
right,
terrible in the picture.
yeah,
They look
because
fat and like not good in the picture. It's bad.
Oh my god,
You
you're
look great. You look like
hilarious.
a Sports Illustrated model, and then you've got one-piece Malones on either side
So
of you,
creative.
which are
You're
just
like-
horrible.
I can't wait till you meet my roommate because she's literally gonna be like, walk up to you in like a bag and be like, "Hey,
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
I'm
what's
wearing a
up?
smack,
I'm wearing a smock."
and I'm going to give her a smack. You ready for
He's
some
gonna
news?
smack her ass.
I know.
Yeah, he's just saying it because it
Or
rhymes with
kiss her.
smock. I don't think it like
Kiss her is what he's saying. I forgot that people use the word smack to mean kiss.
It might be. I think it's open
It's
to
gotta be.
interpretation whether he's smacking her ass, slapping her, or giving her a kiss. I don't think he's seriously contemplating doing any of the three. I think it just rhymes with the one word, right? Like, and I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
really rhyme, but
I think smock and smack.
it's the alliteration factor. But in any case, I'm
The
wrong.
interior, the ending sounds are both the end of the. There's more than alliteration just going on there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm wrong though. Now that I hear that, he wasn't talking about backhanding a woman, Sean Connery style. Or no, Sean Connery was open palm.
what was that?
Oh, it actually came up on the station the other day, but we brought that up a long time ago. Like Barbara Walters, I'm pretty sure asked Sean Connery. I don't know how they arrived at this point, but he's like, you know, sometimes she needs to be smacked, not with a closed fist, but with an open palm. Never with a closed fist. It's like,
That's
all right,
right.
well, good.
Yeah. You know, he's dead now, so anyone worried about that problem, it's solved. I don't know.
Can
I
you say
think,
one more thing that they didn't put audio of in here?
Sure.
I don't know what he said about Asian people, and I don't know what he said about Jewish people. But they didn't even really put it in this article.
Okay.
Because it is in other ones.
Okay.
And in fact, the Anti-Defamation League got after him over that specifically. And they do mention in the article that he is using the R word, which really, like, not that long ago was, people said that in jest. That was honestly one of my politics of narcissism points. That's never really been a word that I found funny.
Yeah.
That's only because of personal familial experience, because there's tons of other ones that I use that are as bad or worse, that were just because I didn't have to deal with the effects.
It's a good starting point, though.
Well, I don't know what he
there.
said regarding Asian people or Jewish people, but I know that he said something, and I almost feel like the Ringer did a disservice by not putting that in there. And all the other articles just say that he made offensive comments about Asian people and Jewish people. But I don't think all the other articles
included audio of anything.
Right. So I don't know like what they were.
I don't know, but it seems to me like this
that can
all
get you
starts
fucked up
from.
quick,
but dude, all of it. I don't like. I would assume that whatever he said was the same level of this stuff, which is like fucking. All of it, it makes him a douchebag, you know, like he's fucking annoying. Like I don't like him based on this stuff. But what's going on here is that there's a category of things that you can be fired for. And there's a category of things that people object to and don't like working with you over, or like want to fire you over, but they don't think that that's how it goes. Like that's not going to win in the PR game. It's not a satisfying answer to reporters or whatever is going on. So whenever you want to fire someone for one of the non-fireable reasons, what people do now pretty often is just search for one of the fireable reasons. And they're getting more and more sloppy and expansive with what they think are the fireable reasons. And it just seems like they're not even trying now. If this is the level of stuff where it's like, what happened is that they announced him, they thought that it was going to go one way, and everyone fucking hated it. And they could tell from that this was probably going to be a pretty serious problem for the ratings of the show. So rather than waiting until they lost all of their audience to make a change, they happily grabbed onto this explanation. And I wish that people... I don't think that it is great that so many people make jokes out of other people. I don't know. Like, I think that approaching things, with a generous heart and trying to lift up those around you is a good ideal to strive for, and that he didn't come close there. But if I had said any one of those things and I got fired from fucking Jeopardy, I can't tell you how devastated I would be. And
what if you could land on this nice, massive pile of money as the executive producer?
I know,
it's kind of like the OU kids.
Yeah.
Canceled all the way to...
No, I mean, kind of his entire existence is offensive to me. And I sort of wish we could just, like... I don't want to kill him, but, like, just delete him. Just kind of go back, like... I don't know,
Before he was...
a gentle... I don't want to cost anyone anything. I don't want to cause any loss, but if he just never existed...
Right. It's... Yeah, okay.
That would be my choice.
Well, let me ask you this, because I did find one of these comments. He said regarding, he made a Jewish person derogatory joke about noses, where he said, Ixnay on the Oznay, she's not a Uj. So my question is, are there any sorts of jokes that he could have made along those same lines about people of other races or ethnicities, about physical features that you would have been like, I don't know, dude, I don't think you should have this job? Because to me, the problem with this, I definitely agree with a lot of what you're saying, but the problem also is that he's going to work for Jeopardy. Like Dan was saying this today, like, and I somewhat agree with this point too, that
the question
got fired because people didn't like him. He's a shitty person, and so when he did get hired, not only was the audience pissed, but you can guarantee that like a bunch of people who worked at Jeopardy behind the scenes contacted the reporter and were like, hey.
Yeah, and that's a similarity to the Teen Vogue thing of like what's really going on here is that your coworkers don't like you
Right.
and they prefer not to work with you, and whenever they have public jobs, they have a little bit of ability to disrupt that. And they take advantage of it. And they're, probably like, I don't know. It seems entirely possible to me that the reporter in this story heard about the podcast because one of the coworkers
absolutely.
was like,
That's what I'm
listen to this
saying.
fucking podcast.
So I wonder if
But I just wish that people could be fired for being a shitty fucking coworker. I wish that they wouldn't advance to the level that he advanced to if they were a shitty coworker. I wish that we had an environment, like a world where the people making these decisions really took seriously the opinions of the people who have to work with him, and would only like come to decisions collaboratively and respect each other's dignity in the workplace.
So it seems like the two options are, because they don't, right? So either they don't, and you can't get Mike Richards Al Capone style, or they don't, and you can, while knowing that it's going to be pretty messy and haphazard. And again, people that you actually think are good at their job, or at least you perceive them to be good people or good coworkers, are also going to get canned.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about here. The downside is not that Mike Richards gets fired.
Right.
It's the what we're expressing. We're not like fucking Einsteins or anything, but it's a somewhat complex and nuanced understanding of the events that I don't think is going to be the majority one. I think that most people are going to read this. They're going to take it at face value that they saw a headline. They didn't read the article, but they saw a headline that Mike Richards made offensive comments, and then they saw the headline that he'd been fired. And they're not going to think a lot about how actually they didn't really like him in the workplace, and actually the bosses. Because that's the thing I want to say about the jokes is like any of these jokes. Do you think that if the bosses, if there had been a universally positive reaction to him, if everyone was like, oh, this is the perfect choice, he's definitely the next Trebek, and people were predicting, like people who the executives trusted were widely predicting the ratings would go way up, and he made all these jokes, do you think he would have been fired?
Man, that's a tough one.
I don't think it's tough at all.
Yeah,
I think he definitely doesn't.
Obviously,
get
the booth ho and the did you take booby pictures? No, definitely not for that. But without knowing the context of his comments about Asian people, man, I think,
I mean, if there's anything that like is going to be able to string him up by itself, it's the Jewish thing
or the Asian thing. I really think both those.
I don't want to like perpetuate these things, but I think that one group gets listened to more than the other.
Well, I mean, either way, I just mean they're race things. They're not like, because people don't really joke that much about race anymore.
I think Nick Cannon could have said all those things about Asian people.
Maybe. Although, didn't they get Nick Cannon out of the paint briefly? That's what another point.
No, they got him all the way out of the paint. He's a Zionist now. He lives in one of the settlements.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
But he works now.
I mean, he didn't get fired from one of his jobs. He
Right.
had two prominent jobs at the time. One of them fired him, the other one didn't.
That's what I think. Okay. So I don't know if Mike Richards would have been fired or not. For most of these comments, I would say no. For a couple, I could see it going either way just because they're about race, because most people don't really joke about race much anymore. And people do still make like misogynistic, or even, not to be this guy, but people make anti-male or is it all men? Mm-hmm. Whatever. It's still considered funny for the most part. Some people are going to be upset about it, but you can still, for the most part, go there. I don't know about the race thing, but just like with Nick Cannon, it does, again, almost prove our point from the other day that while it's shitty, most of the people that run into these problems, like, they don't have to go live on the street. They end up having a pretty good scene for him, and maybe this will end up costing him his executive producer job, and
I don't think it will, and I'm not here like crying for Mike
podcast
Richards.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I hope that he fucking like.
I totally know what you mean.
But like, I wanted him to be fired, but the press release, I wanted it to be his coworkers don't like him, and we think that this decision is being received more poorly than we thought it was. I think that those are acceptable reasons to fire him. You're in the business of making a fucking television show. Of course you're worried about the ratings. And as I've said over and over, I want you to respect the dignity of everyone in your workplace. And if the majority of those people think that he's been bad to them or that they don't enjoy working with him and the approach that he has, then that ought to be a serious factor in your decision. So this is not me saying that I don't want Mike Richards fired. I do. No. But like the fucking, I don't know. I'm not, none of the tone of my voice is directed at you. It's at the situation, you know?
But those are the type of things that come up that you don't even get the job. I mean, it would have looked real messy if they hired him and then a few days later we're like, oh, this guy's been an associate producer for 5 years and the executive producer for a year and a half, and we had no idea that everyone here just hated him.
Well, I think the bigger thing that they would have, I don't think the people who removed him because his coworkers didn't like him. I think it was just the public reaction and the perception of what it would do to the ratings once they heard the public reaction.
Yeah, it also doesn't help to have...
And I think it's okay for them to be like, hey, we thought you guys would like it. You let us know universally that you hate it. We value that opinion, and so we're going to go a different direction.
Man, I wonder how that would work legally, though. I almost wonder how this is going to work legally.
I mean, if he's still executive producer, then he'd be a fucking idiot to make any legal trouble about it.
Yeah. But... he might have been more inclined to do so if they couldn't play we find these things offensive and against our corporate culture. If they had played it as just, whoa, we didn't know that everyone hates this guy so much internally and externally. But that's a really minutia point.
That could be a consideration. It could be a major consideration. I would say that that's a flaw in the system too. Like these are fucking problems that lawyers have created for us with their dumb little games. And like I'm upset about that too, because the problem is not that Mike Richards is fired. The problem is that I think that other people will have this there was
I would say a lot of people already have.
Yeah, and it's gonna be more. Like dude, they keep on moving the bar down. That's the thing I'm kind of getting at, is that I think that most of the reaction was to this Ringer article. Like all the stories I saw quoted the Ringer article. Mm-hmm. There was no other original reporting on it. And I mean the Jewish and Asian stuff is I think that
I thought it did too, but I don't see it in there. But what I do think is that she's writing a book.
Yeah, it's Ixnay on the Oznay is in the Ringer article. She just doesn't have the audio.
Okay, but she's writing a book about Jeopardy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think probably some people also got, after this came out, maybe they started sending out advanced copies. She may have already written the book. I assume this is just a chapter or part of the reporting for it. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, look, we've said this before, although gingerly, I guess. But, people get fired for comments about the diplomatic relationship between America and Israel all the time.
Yeah.
And I would personally say to me that, at least, especially if you're a political commentator like Mark Lamont Hill was, that is, to me, way more troubling if you ask questions about that or have opinions about it than anything that this dude said, being fired for that as opposed to what this dude is getting fired for.
Yeah, and I think all of it's bad.
Yeah, but I mean, the problem is, where's the line? The problem is what that you've said before.
It seems to me like the line is being remade with every single one of these stories, and that it's only going one way. And I don't know. It's not like I want to die on the hill of people should be able to make insensitive jokes, but it just seems like all of us are heading towards a place where we feel less secure in our employment, and that's really destructive to people's lives. Worrying about losing your job, is very bad.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that too many people who are, I don't want to say living on the margins, but I don't think too many people who are, let's just say middle class, really have all that much to worry about when it comes to these things. Because, I mean, people put dumb shit on Facebook and they get reprimanded. And sometimes people do get fired if they really push back on it. But for the most part, when I see these stories, dude, the fucking school teacher in Fort Worth had crazy. Remember, she was tweeting Trump because she just didn't understand how Twitter works.
I do remember
and
that.
She was tweeting about, please come help me, dear sir. There are too many illegals in my school. Yeah. That woman kept her job.
No. On appeal, right?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
they fired her, and then the school board.
and
or
she was like,
the
"No,
board-
fuck that. I'm bucking back," and she kept her job. So I just think
that's nuts.
I think that there's definitely merit to what you're saying, but I also think
I just think that sorry.
it applies to a select group of people, of which we are probably both part of, by the way. But it's not necessarily just because, dude. I mean, the stuff
I don't
that,
think
like,
that's true.
Well, I mean, you just see stuff that like. Okay, I cannot tell you how many 130 News stories I've done about a police officer. Someone who is like out in front when it comes to a lot of the issues that are controversial, who had a series of posts on Facebook, and the story always ends with he was placed on like 1 week administrative leave, and then they're just back at their job.
Yeah, no, police can get away with all kinds of shit, and it's fucked up, and I wish it would stop.
And I know that's their union.
Regular,
but-
like a fucking, telephone repairman. Is that a common job these days?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Whenever people in low wage employment
a lineman
get
That's
fired,
electricity, right?
it's not a news story. That's what's happening. You're not reading about it on the 1:30 News. The morning news isn't writing it up. They're just getting fired. It's not, like no one considers it consequential. It wrecks their fucking life. But like I did read a news story that was just like making this point and compiling compiling instances of times this has happened. But I mean, all that shit's anecdotes anyways. I can't prove any of this. But I think that it does hold up to like logical scrutiny. The idea that, thousands and thousands of TGI Fridays waitresses could be fired for this before anyone would write anything about it. But it's going to fuck up their lives pretty bad.
Man, because see, I think at the heart of a lot of this is commercials. Right? Like so I think that's like a big part of the reason.
That's where it starts with this. What I'm worried about is the idiots making these decisions of like whether or not to fire the TGI Fridays waitress. They don't have a complex understanding of this that thinks that Jeopardy's doing this. They haven't thought through that Jeopardy's doing this because of advertiser reaction. They think that there's a public standard being articulated, and whenever they see someone on the other side of it, they're like, oh, well, I ought to fire them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really know.
I don't
I'm
either.
somewhat
I mean, all
skeptical
this
of
is
that.
fucking...
I'm somewhat skeptical of that, but I could also see a situation where it plays out that way. But I just feel like if you go to Facebook, which I don't and haven't in a long time, but I remember it well enough, and occasionally the real magma level stuff, the MAGA stuff, makes it to Twitter, and I'm like, shit. I mean, that person does not appear worried about losing their job. I just think if Facebook wouldn't exist, if like really riled up, offensive, but I guess also I'm saying this through the lens of what I consider offensive, which is like, most of the most far right opinions and not jokes about, tits or something.
Yeah, see, his stuff about poor people, I do find that offensive.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
it's also
part of
all
my
over
frustration is
Facebook.
I don't think anyone would listen to me, right? Like Matt Brunig's made this point before of like, whatever you're like, would you want to have to work a lot alongside someone that has these views? Like usually in reference to like racist views, of like, would a minority want to have to work next to them? It's like, well, of course not. But like, also, this person thinks that my entire family doesn't deserve health care. And it's definitely not like I have run into people who like where I've told the story of my uncle, it's my summary of events that he died because he didn't have health insurance. And like I've had people be like, fucking should have lived healthier.
Yeah.
And like that's not the kind of thing someone could get fired for. But like he pretty much like spit on my family member's grave. It's just like, fucking good, he's dead, couldn't take care of himself.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying is I guess when I say offensive, I'm talking about stuff
I think that's
pretty
offensive.
It's pretty popular, and I am in no way more offended by him trying to be morning zoo wacky and asking if a girl that he's co-hosting a show with too, by the way. Like, to make a nuanced point here, he didn't say this to someone in a job interview.
Yeah.
Now, if it is his assistant, obviously there's a power imbalance there, and she may have not been super comfortable with it. But I think if you sit down to co-host a podcast with somebody, like, I'm not saying all bets are off, but like, you understand the direction where things are going. And
it doesn't seem like it's fucking up her world.
It doesn't. But I would also say the race thing, I just think that gets a little bit dicey, man. And the other thing that's pretty interesting about it is that, to an extent, I feel like the stage for a stand-up is still not protected, but it is still a little bit different. And podcasts definitely have not been afforded that same level of, hey, I'm trying to be funny. Even though a lot of comedians do podcasts, the ones who say whatever the fuck they want make $90K a month on Patreon because they don't need advertisers. And the advertisers still love it because they're like, yeah, people, it's a joke. But like, for example, Tom Segura will still do like a black guy's voice. And like, nobody cares because it's not like mean, but he'll still do like a black guy's voice.
That's wild.
And he's, I don't know that it's because he doesn't need to tour, but he's, he doesn't even seem like when he does it, it is in no way intended to be edgy or like, can you believe I'm doing this shit? He just does it when he's telling the story from the point of a black guy that was involved in the story. So again, I'm not saying that's okay, but I do think stand-up comedians can still get away with a lot more than they bitch about not being able to get away with.
Yeah.
Now, you can't pull your dick out and force people to look at it.
I mean, I
probably
think
get canceled for that.
Yeah, like what I'm saying here is to some degree, like, the way things are is fucked up, and like we should all think more critically about it. And part of like another thing that is fucked up is the way that you have been able to talk about women and minorities in the past, and so like this is part of an effort to change that, and like I do support that generally, but like I don't know, there's things that I think that would have like a real. I think that there are a lot of times that people underrate how much something's gonna fuck someone up, like just kind of like smacking girls on the ass at work sort of stuff. I think that really can like wreck someone's life.
Of course.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I am for the reevaluation of those kinds of things.
But
and I don't know how to square that exactly
man.
with saying like it's fine for him to make these jokes, but like I don't know, dude. I think that it's matters of degrees, and I think that he's not that close to the line of the degree at which it is okay to remove him from that job publicly on those grounds. And you're right that the race stuff is like more serious. I don't think that's been forefronted. I mean, like I said, it's not like Jeopardy gave us a line by line. This is what was most upsetting. They didn't rank the jokes from 1 to 10 of...
They should have him do like a little reveal.
Yeah.
Put an embedded video in the press release. Number 10. Like Booby Bix?
But it seemed to me like a lot of the... the stuff that you're talking about is stuff that they didn't even excerpt as audio in the article.
I know.
When I'm reading through the article, it seems to me like the stuff that they're being like, can you believe this? And then it's always like, or I don't know. In most of the articles I've seen, it's just podcast comments,
Yeah, and then the lawsuit.
Yeah,
But that was not, again, it wasn't like he was...
But that wasn't a surprise thing. Although neither was the podcast. I mean, all of it, like, you should be embarrassed by the sloppy work here if that's what you were actually mad about. What I think is also possible is that someone in the vetting process did listen to every episode of his podcast, thought that it was fine, and then saw the public reaction and thought this was a convenient excuse. I'm not saying that definitely happened, but it seems possible to me.
It's possible, but I also... Dude, there was something not that long ago that was very similar to this. And I don't remember what it was, so that's not really going to land. But I remember something recently where people had no idea about somebody's previous comments or social media posts, and they got fired. And I'm like, you're not searching that? Like, you're not going through their entire... And maybe they're lying and saying they weren't aware, but I do think there are some companies that are just like, nah, whatever, we're TV.
Yeah,
or whatever.
There's some places that take it way more seriously than you would ever anticipate, and there's some places that don't check at all. I don't think that there's a uniform thing out there about it.
There's no uniformity to any of this, and that's why I'm just assuming it's going to be the worst possible case scenario where it's throwing a dart, And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
it'll hit somebody that I think sucks. And sometimes
That's what I'm worried about.
And it's not even necessarily that I'm okay with the way that it is. And I know that you're that's been your thesis here, but I just see absolutely no way that any of this changes, like at all.
I mean, I don't think it's likely to change, but what I'm trying to do here is articulate a vision for how it could. Like if you were in control of how everyone goes here, I think that the way that this positively changes is all of us like accept honesty. Like that the people making the decision in Jeopardy come forward and say the reasons that they actually fired him, which I deeply believe to be just the public reaction, and then the public like doesn't skewer them for it. You know, because like that's why they're doing the thing here of like trying, like they're giving you a reason that they think is going to make it look so like I'm not an idiot. They're not even doing a great job of that because you are an idiot for not knowing his fucking podcast comments. It's a public podcast, but
It was.
yeah. Until she started asking questions about it, but I think the way that this gets better is just that we all accept a norm of you can say what is actually going on and you don't get skewered for it.
That would be nice, but I just wonder, I guess my last point is, I don't know if I have a clean way to getting to, because I do think there are some people who are actually fired. Okay, maybe they are being fired over the reaction. In this case, he's being possibly fired over the reaction that people didn't want him hired in the first place and think he sucks. But I think there are a lot of times that people are fired because people were genuinely outraged over somebody's comments. They were offended by them. And of course, the company is primarily worried that those people tangentially are going to affect ad revenue. But it's not always, I don't think, not always is it that somebody was fired after doing something offensive as a backdoor into firing them. I think sometimes people are fired just because they said something offensive. And in those specific cases, I don't know how to articulate a clean vision for how you can not have an overwhelming amount of derogatory stuff said to people, whether it's in the workplace or socially. How you can eliminate the bad and keep like but this is kind of just funny. You know, I don't know how to I feel like that's where the term progress is messy comes from.
I mean, I think it's okay to fire people for legitimately offensive comments.
But then it's just eye of the beholder, though, you know?
Yeah, no, but I mean, now I'm with you of like, I don't see another way.
Yeah.
But there's stuff where it's obvious enough. And I mean, I guess you're always going to have edge cases. But, you know, I don't know. I think that most people can tell that this is not fireable. I guess I'd be, you know, if you disagree, contact me.
Sound off in the comments.
Banter.com. Yeah. Go on Patreon and write a comment. I don't know. This is the last time I'll bring up stuff like this. I don't want to turn this into a just defending white men podcast.
Well, I mean, I brought up a black male that was fired from CNN for.
Yeah.
It's you know. But again, I think Justine Sacco landed on her feet pretty well too, right?
A lot of these people do. No, I don't think that Mike Richards is going to have a tough life from here on out. You know, that's not at all what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the other people who are going to. Yeah, I've said it enough.
I know what you mean, but
yeah.
Also, I was thinking about something when we said sound
it's not like
off
I
in the
think
comments.
that any of this is like the worst thing that's going on in the world, and I think that probably at this point I am not efficiently allocating attention to what the real problems. Whatever. It's not like the point of this podcast is just focus on the real problems. We're just trying to have a good time and talk about stuff that interests us.
Yeah, we're not bringing up the airport in Afghanistan or the fact that we watered the seed of the Islamic State actually spreading into Afghanistan and actually being like, oh shit, we're worse and there's a seat at the table now? We won in the mix.
It's like, I might just go find for you the 5 minutes I'm talking about, but the KCRW show Left, Right, and Center, which occasionally features Liz Brunig, did so this last week. And she was talking to some guy that served in the Bush and Obama White House in the capacity of making strategic decisions about Afghanistan. And just to hear someone she's in my mind just a North Texas debate kid, right? Which is a group that I also identify with. And so to hear one of us talking to a real credentialed person and just being like, listen, you dumbass, how come you didn't fucking figure this out? You lost. It was wonderful. It was great. I know that it's not like every article is a hit for you, But I have no doubt that you would enjoy this 5-minute clip, and I might find it for you.
Yeah, and I used to listen to that show, but I guess I just kind of feel like it's when someone tells you they hear both sides. This is more about the show in general. They hear both. Dude, I've heard the other side for literally since 9/11.
Yeah.
Like since I became hyper interested in social or political issues, it's like there's nothing new. Okay, you surprised me with the no vaccines thing. I gotta admit, I did not see that one coming.
Just would have thought it was uncontroversial.
I thought that was probably the end of the road, or I had heard it all, but that was a new one and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go check it out.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Bye.
That's it for tonight. The high school special is next, so until tomorrow, for everyone who's been a part of this one,
I'm TC and Jake.
We do thank you for watching. Good night.